Hello, football fans, and welcome to the first installment of Three and Outs.
Yes, week one.
Yes, week one. I am Troy Meyer, and you are Eric Meyer.
Yep.
As I introduce
Get
you.
ready to hate me.
You know, people are going to love you, I guarantee you.
Not anybody in Kansas
How
City.
can you not like this place?
I already know people in Kansas City hate me.
Oh, yes, they hate both of us, but mainly
And
just
I'm not your father. Let's make that really clear here in week one. I am not his dad. I'm
If
his
you watched
brother.
our prediction videos from earlier where we predicted the records of each NFL team, apparently he's my father. No, we're brothers. We're only 6 years apart. I guess that's hating on you. Apparently you look old. Sorry.
I just found out there's suspicious activity near my apartment. I'm really excited to drive home later.
Like what?
I don't know. Maybe it's naked people.
I like naked people,
Ooh,
especially when they don't have any clothes on.
that usually means they're naked. We're
So,
talking too much about
week
non-football
one.
stuff. People want to see football.
especially when we're trying to do this in 15 minutes.
Yes.
But we can do this.
Preferably 10.
But for 10, I know, right? Thursday night's game, the first kickoff special game of the year.
There's a big title in this game.
Yes, I know, right? It's very long and winded. I'm already out of breath.
Whew.
New Orleans comes out with a victory, 14-9 over the Minnesota Vikings. What happened here?
Well, Minnesota did not do so well on offense. They didn't run enough. Adrian Peterson did not make a very good statement. He ran pretty well in the first half and was abandoned like a lost little child in the second half. And Brett Favre was terrible. He looked like he had not practiced. He looked like he skipped camp. And guess what? He did those things. He didn't practice. He didn't go to camp. And it showed that the team was offensively rusty. And the Saints were really good on the defensive side. Their offense sputtered, but they did that last year in a few games and still managed to find ways to win, and they did it again. The Saints of 2009 have clearly returned, while Minnesota has raised a ton of questions going forward.
We'll see if New Orleans can keep up this defense next week in week 2. But as we move on to more slate,
Let's go to the Sunday games.
slate of the Sunday
Gigantic
games.
slate.
Yes, I keep a slate in the back. I actually posted up here. I just erased it. I mean,
Oh.
I didn't need it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The New England-Cincinnati game. What happened here? New England wins, but what happened?
Oh, well, New England put Cincinnati on the ropes early and just kept punching. They knocked Cincinnati down 24-0, and Cincinnati did post some points there as the final score shows, 38-24. But New England owned this game from bell to bell. They looked like a well-oiled machine.
Is this a
They
boxing
looked like
match?
it was a boxing match, and Cleveland or Cincinnati got punched in the face right off the bat, just popped right in the nose.
Pow, right in the kisser.
Yeah, pow, right in the kisser.
Yes. New England is going to end up moving on 1-0. Cincinnati down 0-1. They had lots of hype, but we'll see if they can bounce back in week 2.
Yeah.
Chicago-Detroit is your next game. Jay Cutler comes into this game really not living up to the expectations from last year, throwing way too many interceptions. And Detroit, on the other hand, ends up having a little bit of, like, I don't know,
Hope.
Hope. It's not something I haven't really experienced in Detroit for a long time. What happens here?
Well, Chicago turned the ball over way too many times. It definitely displayed Detroit's heart. Detroit did not play very well offensively or really defensively, but Chicago made stupid errors and also did bad things as far as play calling goes that kept Detroit in this game. There was an amazing 4-play goal line stand for Detroit, keeping the Bears out of the end zone on 4 straight plays and causing Tom Brenneman's face to explode. But this game came down to a what would have been a potential game-winning touchdown taken off the board. Calvin Johnson caught a dramatic pass with one hand in the end zone off of Sean Hill.
Sean Hill back up for...
Yeah, he had to come in for Matthew Stafford, who got taken out of the game. Sean Hill throws the pass. Johnson makes the catch, appears to have made the grab, but for some reason chucks the ball when he goes to the ground because I think he thought he had scored. The ref says, no, that play wasn't over. You didn't score.
Yes, a very controversial call that will definitely be talked about in weeks to come for sure. The next game to talk about is Pittsburgh-Atlanta. Pittsburgh comes in here without their quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, who is still serving his suspension, as we all may know. And Atlanta comes in as really a sleeper pick. I mean, my pick for the Super Bowl, but I think a lot of people as well may think they can contend in this NFC South. Pittsburgh ends up winning this game 15-9. What did you see go on?
Yeah, well, this was an overtime game thanks to some multiple field goals in this game. This was a kicker's fantasy.
Yeah, Jeff Reed and Matt Bryant.
It was not pretty kicking by any means, but field goals are field goals. It led to an overtime situation. Dennis Dixon was not very good in this game, but he did not cost the team the game either. So a win's a win without Big Ben. They got to take him however they can get him. And then Rashard Mendenhall with the big touchdown run in OT. Atlanta's offense was very disappointing. They should have played a lot better considering how many weapons they have. So I'm very concerned about Atlanta's offense going forward. But Pittsburgh got a win. They showed they're scrappy, and they showed they're not going to go down without a fight, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely a win that a lot of people did not expect. People would think that they would have came out here 0-1, and, well, Pittsburgh fans probably hoping for at least 2-2 without Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, so they're halfway there.
So they're halfway there already. The next game to talk about would be Tampa Bay defeating Cleveland 17-14. Cleveland, that quarterback of theirs, what happened there?
He decided to be nice to Tampa and let them have a shot at winning the game, and Tampa decided to go ahead and win the game.
Yes.
Jake Delhomme actually didn't look that bad in the first half. Cleveland actually had the lead, but Jake Delhomme decided to throw the ball to Tampa a couple of times, and that allowed Tampa to stay in the game and take the lead late in the game, thanks to Josh Freeman, who I personally feel just wins games. And Josh Freeman puts them on top with the help of one of the Mike Williamses. And
Yes.
Cleveland was unable to bounce back. They wind up losing. Very disappointing effort out of Cleveland in one of the games that they should have won, probably. One of the few chances they're going to get to win a game all year.
Absolutely. The next game, probably the biggest game of the week, the statement game.
Statement game!
That was nice. Very nice.
It hurts my throat.
Yeah, we're both sick here. Houston ends up winning this game 34-24 over Indianapolis, which ends up breaking that streak of numerous losses. I mean, it wasn't a streak, but I mean they were 1-15. They'd only won once the last 16 games, but they finally come on top of the dreaded Indianapolis Colts. How did they end up losing this game?
Well, the Colts were on the ropes, just like the Cincinnati Bengals were against New England. The Colts were on the ropes early and never really responded in the typical Colts fashion. Colts are used to playing from behind, but in this one they never actually caught up to Houston. Houston just kept putting points on the board, thanks to Arian Foster's ridiculous 200-plus yard performance with multiple touchdowns, keeping the Colts down for the count. Very impressed by the way Houston answered the bell early. Week 1, there was a lot of concern about how Houston would come out in this game. They answered the call. It was a really good showing by Houston. They have proven that they are to be considered a contender in the AFC South.
One win will prove that?
Yes, that's the one win that had been eluding them as a franchise for many years now.
All right. Miami Buffalo is the next game to talk about. Go from probably a top game to probably one of the most boring games of the week, in my humble opinion. Miami ends up winning this game 15-10. Pretty much expected, but what did you find in anything interesting in this game catch your eye?
Not really. I personally was surprised that Buffalo scored 10 points. I thought they would have scored maybe 1. Somehow they would have scored just 1.
Yeah,
that's how bad I think Buffalo is. And then Miami should have scored more points. Ronnie Brown should have probably been a bigger factor. Where was Ricky Williams in this game? No. And
Ronnie
then
Brown.
Chad Henne was kind of disappointing too. I have a lot of hope for Chad Henne, especially having Brandon Marshall as a tool to throw to, but he is a tool. And they didn't use him at all. No, I think he's a jerk.
He kind of
Miami really disappointed offensively, but it didn't matter because Buffalo was terrible. They won the game.
Yes, Buffalo ends up going down 0-1. You pretty much expect more losses coming their way. Denver and Jacksonville. Denver has to go into Jacksonville. Where how many fans were in the stadium?
0.
0 fans decided to
There's a
show
bunch
up
of
to
cardboard-shaped things that look like fans.
Yeah, it's something you see in like a Madden game or something like that.
And
where they
half of Tim Tebow
cheer like this or something.
And they're all wearing the same color shirt. It's a pattern of 6.
Yeah, even if the fans that actually did show up probably don't even have like Jacksonville colors to wear.
They were there for Tim Tebow.
They were there for Tim Tebow. Take me through this first play that Tim Tebow had.
Tim Tebow makes his NFL debut with a 1-yard run in the Wild Horse offense. One yard run. 1 yard run.
That was his debut.
That was
well,
it.
what else did he do in the game?
Well, he basically brought God in to cause a lightning storm that caused a half-hour delay after the third quarter. God was pissed that the Broncos did not put Tim
Yeah.
Tebow in. That's why there was a lightning storm in this one.
God and Tim Tebow definitely
I know
get
that
along.
for a fact. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely know each other really well. God is on Tim Tebow's speed dial.
Yes.
The next game on the slate, apparently we didn't even talk about
I
anything
really
about
wanted
this
to
game.
talk about Jacksonville
You can
not
talk- okay.
needing a
Talk about
Maurice
your team.
Jones-Drew touchdown.
Yes, talk about
They
your
did
team.
not need a touchdown from MJD to win this game. They got 3 passing touchdowns out of David Garrard. This passing offense not going to be there every week, I don't think. But very impressive win by Jacksonville. Good showing offensively. And Denver's defense, very disappointing.
In the next game, we have the Giants defeating the Carolina Panthers 31-18. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, but I don't want my biased opinion coming in the way. What did you see from this game?
I felt like Matt Moore actually played better than people are going to give him credit for. Drove his team to the red zone multiple times. This team actually had the lead going into the half. A very close game. Wound up not looking that close when the final score was all said and done. Tons of turnovers in this game, as I called it. Turnover City. Both teams were chucking the ball to the other side as much as possible. Eli Manning even threw 3 picks. The wide receiver play was terrible, as you pointed out, and Carolina had multiple opportunities to come back in this game, but they forgot who they were. They didn't run the ball. They acted like Matt Moore was their only person worthy of bringing them to the promised land, and they failed.
Yeah, Matt Moore is definitely not bringing any team to the promised land, at least not yet in his career.
He's untested, and he showed his rookie stature.
We'll
on the
see
field.
what happens in week 2 if you see any more Jimmy Clausen on the way. Oakland and Tennessee end up playing another game together. Yes, they do play games. They're NFL teams. They play games. Tennessee ends up winning this one 38-13.
Oakland sucked. Jason Campbell is a loser, and he lost again. Oakland looked pretty bad. Tennessee won. Chris Johnson was great. Vince Young looked just like he did last year, so no worries there. I'm going to save us some time and just say Oakland was terrible. Tennessee won. Next game.
Very nice. Very nicely done. Seattle, 31 points. San Francisco, 6. What do you see there?
Seattle was very impressive. Pete Carroll is a genius, apparently. San Francisco's
This is
offense continued to sputter like they did last year. Nothing really changes when you keep the quarterback who doesn't score you any points in Alex Smith. 6 points for San Francisco is ugly. And then the defense that San Francisco is supposed to pride themselves on got abused by Seattle. So a very impressive statement game for Seattle. They definitely stick their names in the hat for possible contenders to win that ugly, ugly NFC West division.
Green Bay, 27 points. Philadelphia, 20. Green Bay wins on the away.
One of the
away
few-
from Philadelphia.
Yeah, one of the few
Yeah.
road teams to win.
One of the few road teams to win. We had 3 road teams currently winning. Green Bay puts up a nice performance, though.
Yeah, they were very much the winners of the first half of this game. Then they went into a prevent, conservative style of offense and defense, allowing Michael Vick to lead Philadelphia back into the game. Kevin Cobb was knocked out early with a concussion. Leonard Weaver nearly died on the field with his leg being basically severed.
Bones aren't supposed to be turned that way.
It was pretty close to seeing a bone sticking out of his jersey. It was pretty gross. But, Green Bay allowed the Eagles to stay in this one, and Vic definitely played pretty good football, I would say. But it wasn't enough for the Eagles. They've definitely still got some offensive questions too. And the Cobb versus Vic debate is already well underway.
And Kevin Corn and the Cobb is definitely going to be benched pretty soon. Arizona, St. Louis.
Ugly game. Can we not talk a lot about that one? Sam Bradford threw a ton of passes.
His bionic arm is definitely
Woo!
well-oiled already.
He was chucking balls left and right.
Yes.
And it still wasn't enough. Derek Anderson, awful, and still managed to win.
Yeah, Arizona does come out with the victory in that one. Dallas, Washington, the Sunday night game. What
That
happened
was-
at the end of this game?
That was an ugly game to watch. Dallas gets blanked going into the half thanks to an awful play to end the second quarter. But at the end of the game, their offensive lineman, his
Alex
name
Barron.
Alex Barron, makes the idiot play of the week and causes his team to lose. They actually score a touchdown at the buzzer, and it's pulled off the board.
Off of
Thanks to Barron's holding call. Barron, the offensive lineman, with the most penalties in the NFL, picks up yet another penalty.
Yes, and very quickly here, 2 more games still Monday night. We will not preview much with there being due to time constraints. We've got
constraints!
we've got the New York Jets facing the Baltimore Ravens, very important AFC matchup, and as well another AFC game, San Diego facing the Kansas City Chiefs for an AFC West showdown. Hope you guys enjoy those games, watch those games. We'll be back again week 2 for
And we'll be
another
faster.
edition of 3 Out.